when I die, I'm not going to ask to see my championship ring again. The only reason, John, that I know where my championship ring is because I take it to to talk to kids, and I'll be like, oh, look at this. Isn't this really cool? And they're like, oh yeah, that's awesome. And I'm like, it's really not that cool. Like, no one knows, like the year after we won the MLS Cup, it's like the day after you win the MLS Cup, it's like, who's going to win it next year? If anything, you get like 3 hours of like, oh yeah, Wells won the MLS Cup. And it's like, it's not like I walk around and like, I win the MLS Cup or I wear my ring or people are like MLS Cup. And so you just look at what you sacrificed to get that. And it's like, man, that's a lot for really not much. So, I think the older we get, the more we understand, or we question what life's about, and God, these things aren't fulfilling me, but I really feel alive. And I'm like feeding the poor, or like housing the hungry, or like fighting for people and speaking up for people that can't speak for themselves. And then you're like, God, that's what Jesus says. That's why I feel so good doing it. Cause if I just followed what he said, like, and that's the battle. You got, you go where you focus. Right. So, when I'm during the season, it was like, man, I'm focused on soccer. And here's the thing, like, God wants you, John, to be the hardest working, most determined, most passionate goalkeeper in the world. Right. Because that honors God. And I think there's a misconception that, like, because you're a Christian soccer player, like you're weak or you're timid, and you're like, that's not Jesus or the God of the Bible that I know, And so, my problem, John, was was not crossing that line of like, you're really being a jerk, or like, because I get fired up. Like if someone came into me, like, and so I would intentionally like try to stir things up. And I'm a very emotional human being as it is, if you can't tell. So, it'd be hard to tame those emotions, but God wants you, whatever you're doing, you do it for the glory of God, Colossians says. And so whether you eat or drink or talk, do a podcast or write, if you do it what does that look like? And it's just being aware of like, God's given me these gifts and abilities, and ultimately that I'm playing for him. So.